Switch statements let you run a specific code path based on an expression. So the basic syntax of a switch statement is you have the keyword switch and then your expression enclosed within a parenthesis, and then the body would be enclosed in curly braces, and then each of the conditions that you want to compare against to would be in this format. You have the case keyword and then your value, and then you have a break, and then optionally you can also add a default statement. Okay, let's look at an example of what a basic switch statement would look like. So here I have declared a variable named team and then initialized it to 1, and then we have this switch statement. So we are going to compare against a constant value against this team variable. All right, so first up is our first case. In this section we have, or we are comparing against a specific value of 1. So if the value is 1, then we will execute this section of code, which would write out a message name or indicates here team alpha, and then we also need to have this break. All right, and then you can have multiple case statements within your switch statement. So in this case I also have this case 2, and then if it's 2, then we would send out a message of team bravo. Okay, so one or another variation of that would be this one, wherein we have the default, or we added a default section here. So what happens is that if none of these cases here up here uh, matches, then it would execute this line of code or whatever is in the body of our default statement. Again, you have to remember that you have to add break, or else it won't allow you to fall through the different cases, including the default. Okay, so that's one. Another way is that you can add multiple uh, case labels or comparison against a constant value. So in this case, we have both for case 1 and case 2 would execute this line of code. Again, we have also this example of for both values. So if team would equal to 3 or would equal to 4, then it would execute this line of code. So as you can see, we are comparing against a specific value here. Uh, Starting from this very first example that we have. So you have an option to compare against a specific value. Okay, that's one way of using our switch statement. Another way is by through comparison expression. So in this case, if you notice that we have used a boolean expression here, we are comparing or doing a comparison against a value. So in this case, we have our score. We are comparing against score. So this would be like the equivalent of if score is greater than or equal to 10, then we send out a message of 10 bonus points. The other one is if it's the score is greater than 5, then again we show different bonus points. If none of those matches, then the default would eventually be executed. All right, also you have to remember that the default, you can place default anywhere within your switch statement. It doesn't matter if none of the conditions are being satisfied, then default would still execute. And so that's one way of uh, adding granularity to your switch statement. And so that is your switch statement.